Okay, Tayyiba, once let me know once we have to start.
Hello. Hi, Sirin bhai. This is Ifra, volunteer at the site section. Actually,
Okay,
Tayyaba, we just have some internet issues, so I'll be taking this from here. Yeah. So once,
okay. Shall I start?
yeah. Can we wait for like 2 minutes because like everybody's joining?
Okay, okay. I will start at 9:35. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'll
Uh,
let you know.
okay, okay.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. This is Ifra, volunteer at the site section, IEEE AMU student branch. First of all, I would like to welcome our speaker, Sireen Ahmed Bhai, who is an alumni of the Department of Electrical Engineering. He has also served as a research assistant at the National Taiwan University of Science and Technology. Currently, Sireen Bhai is pursuing his PhD in electrical engineering at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. So thank you, Sireen Bhai, for taking out your precious time. We are really obliged to have you for the evening. Before Sireen Bhai takes over, I would like to ask everyone to just drop their questions and queries in the chat box to make the talk a little interactive. So over to you, Sireen Bhai.
Thank you, Ifra, for introducing me, and thank you for inviting to deliver the talk on this secure MS and PhD positions. So feel free to put the message in the chat box if you have any questions throughout the webinar, so that we can answer it at the end of the session. So from now on, I'm sharing my screen. Can you people please confirm? Is my screen visible? Is my voice clear and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the screen is visible.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Tariq sir and Zaz for inviting me to deliver this talk. Okay, I will discuss, mostly I will focus on US and Canada MS and PhD positions. Then I will move toward Japan, South Korea, Germany, EU, Australia. Actually, the procedure is same everywhere, except some documents. First of all, I want to introduce myself. This is like I did my diploma in computer engineering from Polytechnic in 13, passed out in 13. Then B in electrical engineering, like Jadar City, passed out in 2017. Then MS in Hungary. Then I left the PhD. I was not enjoying there. So, and there is one question arises here also, that what about when I emailed the professor to the United States when I was doing PhD here? Even lots of professors has asked me why you are leaving there. What is the reason? So I genuinely answer them that uh, I am facing language issues, and I have moved, like, here the atmosphere is totally different. If I have a problem, I can't ask to other students because they uh, they were facing problem in speaking English, even basic English. So this is the reason that I gave to the professor in United States. So it is not a big problem. Just if you face this situation in future, you can uh, tell the truth. So it is not a big problem. This one is the big job which I have taken, like Social Day Celebration 2018 from Budapest, Hungary. And one thing, maybe this webinar can be extended to 5 to 10 minutes, so please be patient. And one more thing, like I am not going to discuss basic things in detail. So I will mention that things or links in the chat box so that you can read that basic things. It is not a big deal. So first of all, why abroad? Like lots of people have a question that why should I study in abroad? For me, the only and one sole purpose was exploring the world, nothing else. So, but there are lots of things you can, like higher salary, more opportunities. You can do many things like internship, and easily you can get easily internship opportunities, or some you can do even in companies. You can do internship during your education, or after. Also, you will have access to quality lab and equipment needed for your research, because it is the most like crucial factor for your research. You must have some devices and some like research for your equipment so that you can continue your research. And then highly established research and funds availability, and of course salary in the range of, like I'm talking about this one is United States. It is the minimum for PhD. For masters, minimum is 70K. It means $70,000, or you can divide it by 12 and then you can analyze. Of course, the expense is also high, but still you will save lots of money. And during your studies, you don't need to worry about expensive. So lots of people think that about a scholarship. So nobody, not nobody, but 90% of people from AMU, only like they come to United States or Canada or any other like foreign universities. Only they get the scholarship or some stipend, and that is scholarship is more than enough. So this one is just I have taken a pic from Oxford University, so you can see the campus, so that it will motivate you. The scholarship amount. So here, this in various countries, the scholarship amount differs, but the saving will be around more or less will be same in all the universities of a specific country. Like for United States, the scholarship is like TA or RA, and then Canada, it is also TA or RA, but Australia, its name is University RTP Scholarship Research Training Program, I think something like this. And some other country, Japan, Maxter Scholarship, or South Korea, University Scholarship, some specific name, and then University Scholarship. Then the stipend amount is like for PhD, 1,700, or it is like 3,000 USD per month. And like if you are living in New York, if your university is in New York or California, like some rich state, then of course your stipend will be much higher. But at the end, your saving will be more or less same. And with this stipend, you have to arrange everything like accommodation or your daily expenses. And in some university, they also provide you health insurance. So health insurance is like $250 per month in Texas, but like in other states, it can be like 300 or 350, whatever. But you have to, if professor is like, if you get the TA or RA, if they are covering your health insurance, it is fine. If they are not covering, then this amount will like increase. Okay, then for masters, 1,200, 1,300, or it may go 1,800, like in the big cities or New York or some other big cities. Canada, but for United States, your tuition fees will be waived, and so you don't need to worry about. But in Canada, whatever you will get from TA or RA, in some universities, in most of the universities, you have to pay tuition fees from that university, that is stipend, and also you have to arrange your accommodation and maybe in health also. So Canadian scholarship is a little bit not good than United States, but in Australia, in other European countries, and the scholarship is very good, and it is like 3,000 or 2,500 euros per month. So, and they also provide health insurance. So, but getting PhD in Australia and the European PhD position is typically very hard as compared to United States or Canada. Of course, for married people, you can bring your family easily with this scholarship amount. With family, of course, saving will be less, but you can easily manage. So it is not a big issue. I have put the lots of like detailed stipend amount in various countries, so you can explore through this link. So now, where to start? What should I do? So first of all, stop talking and discussing and start doing, because lots of people only ask. So how to get a scholarship, guide me and everything. Just read these things and attend one or two or some webinars and start doing. First of all, you have to understand the full procedure of abroad studies. What are the documents required, and how they evaluate your profile, what admission committee wants from you, and how to make your document very strong enough to compete with others. Once understood fully, then make a plan with week and month. Planning is everything for abroad studies. like you must have to make a plan in second year, first year, or third year, whatever is the year. It doesn't matter, but uh, planning should be like planning means you should plan when you should take IELTS test, when you should take TOEFL test, when should you take GRE and SOP, when should you prepare SOP and LOR, and the most important thing, never sail on two boats. Don't do two things at a time. Like if some people are planning to prepare for abroad studies and GATE also, then you need to think about it. Either choose GATE if you want to study in India, or if you want to settle down in India, then just go for IITs, go for PhD in IITs, and it will be much better than. But because once you leave the India, it is very difficult to go back in India with like and secure faculty positions. It is a little bit tough. So you have to think and analyze yourself and then decide what should you do, what is your plan, ultimate goal. And then you start working on these documents. Like these are bachelor, master CPI. First of all, CPI percentage is a crucial. It plays a crucial role in your admission and even in scholarship. But it is not everything. So if you have low CPI, less than 8 or 7, even 6, if you are eligible, then it's fine. You can apply because they will evaluate your overall profile, all these documents, not only CPI. So, but securing higher CPI is one of the, you can say, most important part of this admission or scholarship. So try to secure 9+. It will be best. If you are not getting 9+, then 8.5 and 8 is also okay. If you have low CPI, then compensate with other documents. If you are interested for United States, then go for GRE. Otherwise, just skip this test and instead do research work, publication, if possible, one paper in journal. So only for United States. Even some other universities also require in Canada 10%, and in Singapore. But if you are like GRE test is not so easy. You have to spend much more time, like 4 to 6 months, and then you have to score 160 at least quant, or this one is the at least. But if you need RA or TA, then you have to score 167 or more than that also. And the overall score, like good score, we can say 320 plus or 325. Then you can apply to top universities also. And then statement of purpose, like length varies, but you have generally 1,000 words. You have to check a specific university where you are applying. What will be the length? At least 3 letters of recommendation from who knows you very well. Not like big person, chairman, or any other professor who didn't teach you. So take a recommendation letter from that professor who knows your work and who knows your skills, communication skills, and who, like, you perform some work, whether research work, whether class work, or anything, but it should be like he knows you very well. And then TOEFL or IELTS, if you have a minimum of score of 80, then you can apply most of the universities. But with this minimum 80 score, you will not be like you cannot apply to all of the universities. So in some universities they require 88, some 92, some minimum score. But for ideal score, like if you want to get TA or RA in US and Canada, then of course you have to secure 96 or 100 plus, and your score must be 26 plus in speaking and writing, because these are the crucial things for the TA positions, because you have to take a classes, you need to take a lab, for bachelor students, bachelor American students. So of course you then you need to score good score in TOEFL. So and one more thing, like if you are targeting United States or Canada, one if your priority is United States, then go for TOEFL. Otherwise, go for IELTS. And then research proposal for United States, you don't need research proposal, so forget about it. If your only purpose is research, United States or Canada, you don't need. However, some places they need research objectives or research statement. Uh, but research proposal they generally requires they are generally required in European universities or Australian universities. So for United States, you don't need it. Acceptance letter from supervisor, it is mainly required for PhD, but sometimes for it is required everywhere in each and every country, United States or Canada, if you want to secure uh, fully funded PhD positions or MS positions. Like it is not mandatory in United States or Canada, but like uh, if you don't have accept like if the supervisor has not agreed to supervise you, or then your chances will be very low. In my case, I applied 8 universities. In 4 universities, I contacted professor. They took my interview, but in 4 university, I didn't get any reply, and all that 4 university, I got rejected. So, and my score was not good for TOEFL. That's why I didn't consider about that I will get TA. So my only option was securing RA. A strong CV. CV means it should be leadership skills, organizing skills, volunteering, and publication awards, clubs, like few projects, etc. So it will be strong then. It doesn't mean that you should include everything, but like for CV, you can make it strong as much as you can by securing all these things, by putting and by mentioning all these things during your bachelor or master. So next question is how to shortlist universities. This is one of the crucial things if you want to, because not all students and not all people can apply to MIT, Stanford, or some top universities. They will not get, like their acceptance rate is very less. So even your profile is awesome and you have such amazing project, but not every people can get admitted here. So for be- for that, because of this, you need to be very specific about shortlisting universities, and this is one of the key factors, because if you apply to wrong universities, like if you didn't decide the university according to your profile, CV quality, your research experience, test scores, then of course they are going to reject you. So uh, just analyze your profile, and after taking test, uh, like after your test scores like TOEFL and GRE, then you have your task will be the shortlisting university according to that, like CV quality, your research experience, test scores, everything. I can help you with this one in choosing university once you will have a TOEFL, GRE, and your complete or updated CV if you are in the 7th semester. And the one what matters most is the country, professor, supervisor, funding, scholarship, research lab, or facility. If you first of all you have to be sure about which country do you want to go, and then you have to find professor, supervisor, and their student. Contact their students. How it is going? What is the environment? How professor prescribe? How much professor prescribe their students? Is it are they friendly, or like some professors sometimes are very weird, so it is very difficult to survive there. So you have to find you have to keep in mind that things also. And then next thing is funding scholarship. It is if a professor has refused to provide second scholarship in second year, then your story is end here. So you have to be very Like you have to be very specific about how many years they are providing scholarship, what will be the what how will they provide a scholarship in second year, third year, and fourth year. How will you know that? You have to contact the students or other student, other seniors which are who are uh, like in that specific university which you are targeting. And then the research lab or facilities, of course, you have to do research, so you must have some equipment or devices and some other things. And you have to look for that also. Okay, now I'm moving a little bit fast as time is. So procedure is step by step. So first of all, initially shortlist 5 universities in each category. These high-ranking university, average-ranking university, low-ranking. For United States, use usnews.com. For other, use topuniversities.com, US ranking or star ranking. And by rating eligibility and their requirements like minimum GPA, GRE to office score, so that you will know whether you can apply to your chosen university or not. Arrange university according to the application deadline, and deadline is the crucial factor. And step 2, if you are eligible, then shortlist the professor of your research interest in each university and revise the list. And of course, your list will decrease when you shortlist the professor of your research interest, because every university doesn't have a specific research interest what you are looking for. Now start contacting each of the professors you have shortlisted for supervision of MS or PhD degrees with an attachment of CV and transcripts or any other details in each country, not only in United States, and Canada, in Japan, in South Korea, everywhere. You just need to attach CV and transcript. But in Australia or Germany, you have to attach also the research idea, small 1 to 2 pages from there, and then like one professor one time in one university. Don't send lots like uh, just what we do that we just draft a single email and we send everywhere. So don't do that. Just send an email to one professor one time in one university, then wait for 3-4 days. If no reply, send a reply email in good tone. If you receive a positive reply, then go to next step. You can use some tracker, but it is I don't know it is good or not, but you can do that also. If you didn't get the reply from your chosen university and professor, then again add like for example, if you have chosen 10 universities and if you didn't get the reply from every professor, then of course you need to add few universities here and then repeat the procedure. Prepare all the required documents, read the admission guidelines carefully, and finally apply to it. The key issue is here. Once the professor is ready to supervise you or fund you, then you can be sure that your admission is almost guaranteed. 90% you can say that your admission is guaranteed. You just need to apply to the admission committee, and they will evaluate your profile. They will provide admission, and then professor will provide you research RA later. Deadlines, the most important thing which we ignore. When should I apply? So you know that the abroad universities provide admission in spring or fall session, and each early application will increase your chances of selection. So don't wait for the deadline. If you want to start your MS or PhD studies in September 2022, then you must apply by November or December to Feb 2021. It is for application, but you have to email professor by October. So you can see that how early they are closing their application. So you must be very active and motivated and dedicated to do these. And these are very lengthy process, hectic process, but you have to do. This is the only thing, only approach. And if you are fresher, they will make a decision on admission till the 6th semester mark sheet along with all documents. So you don't need to worry about. And if you apply early, of course, you will get a visa easily. So here, what I want to show you about 3 scenarios about all over the globe, all over the world. Like if in first university, if you have these documents, Like every university in every country, they only require these documents. And in some university, they can ask some random questions in the application portal, uh, like like Hong Kong PhD fellowship or Warsaw scholarship for Oxford University, or any other. Like they sometimes mention that you have to explain that question in the application. Like you can say that this will come under the category of SOP. So if you have these things, like including GRE and TOEFL and everything, you can apply to anywhere, from east to west, north to south. And for the second scenario, if you don't want to take GRE, or if you don't have GRE, like you didn't score the GRE well, uh, then if you have TOEFL score of 80 minimum or IELTS score of 6.5, then and you have all these documents, then you can apply to uh, all the non-GRE required countries, like except United States, some universities in Canada and Singapore, you can apply to anywhere. So lots of people don't prefer to come to United States, so you don't need to take GRE. And for the third scenario, lots of people face with this score also. Like they didn't score well in the TOEFL and they don't want to take TOEFL. So you can apply with English proficiency certificate from the department also. And you have to, of course, in this case, you have to apply for the non-English speaking countries. But I would recommend that take this test at least once. It is the one year, because for this scenario, you will have very limited. And if you didn't get, you have to leave your abroad studies plan. Next is how to contact professor. What should you do? So I am discussing here the three approach for assistantship. Like first approach is RA. This is basically for United States and Canada. So first approach is RA. Funded admission is possible only if you contacted professor and he replies positively and agreed to supervise you after interview, etc. So you have to contact professor. It is mandatory for RA. For example, Louisiana State University, Mississippi State University, UC San Diego, Iowa State, Oklahoma State University, etc. So this is straightforward. Just email the professor and ask him for like you are interested in master's or PhD positions. And second approach for RE and on TA also, professor usually don't reply most of the time if you don't relate your research experience with him. So in this case, like for professor usually don't reply. Even if your profile is competitive, they will not reply. If your profile is competitive, then the panel will call you for an interview one time or maybe sometime 2 or 3 times also. After that, finally, they will evaluate your profile and select you if you are on their list, like Northeastern University. So here you will apply. The panel will evaluate your profile. Then if some professor will be interested in your profile, then panel will call you for interview and they will select you as a RA or TA student. So it is not like this one. If you upload, contacted the professor and he is ready, then your admission is guaranteed. It is not like this way. In some universities, like for example, this Northeastern University, Boston. Third approach is like you contacted professor, but they didn't reply. Like you email lots of professor and you just get tired that they are not replying me. And in this condition, you have to take risk of being considered for TA from the department. You don't need to do anything for this, like separately for this approach. But for getting TA, you have to score, like here the GRE, TOEFL, and GPA plays a crucial role for funding as a TA. You must have very high score to compete others, because every people apply. Department make their own list according to all these things, and according to TOEFL and GRE scores for TA. And then if you are top 10 or top 15%, then they will provide your TA according to their fund. Example, any big research funded university. But it is not most of the time, but sometimes TA is not good because it is not like guaranteed every year. So next is, which professor should I contact? So okay, for other places like Japan, South Korea, and Australia and other European countries, so you don't need to worry about a scholarship. You will just apply for a scholarship, nothing else. You will just apply to PhD positions, or you will email to the professor if they are ready to supervise you. So it means that your funding is guaranteed. So you don't need to worry about it. That's why I didn't discuss it here. Which professor should I contact? So first of all, target that professor which have their own personal website, and they mention RA positions there usually. So you have to find that. Maybe I can show. Okay. Example, some professor like this one is Louisiana State University. This is Dr. Tyson. It is by my university. It is from Mississippi State. If you are from, these all are from power electronics. It is from, if you are interested in power system research like state estimation or stability or power system stuff, then must contact. He is very nice person and he will reply as per my experience. So if if your research experience is related to power system, then must contact him. But not like not don't contact and like don't email too much. Just you send one email. If he if he replies, then it is okay. Otherwise, leave it. And next is, if you didn't find any personal website, and also, yeah, to those who have close research interests and you have skills what they want. If your research area is not similar, don't email. It's just waste of time. He will just delete your message email. So only email when you have close research interest with professor. And the next is, if they don't have personal website, still you have to contact. It doesn't mean that they don't have vacancy. Many professor wants to see the student's motivation, how he or she can reach to me without any announcement. But here you will never know that. Okay. But here you will never know that he or she has funding or not until they reply. So in that case, like in some senior professor, they don't have websites. If some professor has research area like they don't have research area related to computer, of course they are not going to build their website. So you have to also find email random professor, and then if they reply, then go for it. Otherwise, just try another professor. So here I am showing some important thing about professor. Like this one in Mehdi process, I am showing you how to do. Like here is that professor Mehdi Prasad, Dr. Mehdi Prasad from Louisiana State University. His research area is like power electronics, design, modeling, and control of power electronics. Like when you go to the Louisiana State University School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, you will see the professor. Then at the end, you can see like this is the research interest and email and everything. Then you can see the home page. Like lots of people, lots of young professors have your website. So when you will explore the website, you can see everything what he wants. Like actually this one. So here you can see the home page about. You can read the research area. We conduct research on energy management, power electronics, electric drives, I will put all the links in the chat box. And then you can see education here. Then you can also find supervisor from his supervisor, like his advisor was professor and this one. So you can just Google it and see if they have vacancy or not. So this is the this is the way of finding professor in very short time. Professional experience. This is his details. Then next is course offering. You can see that publication here. You can find all his publications. And this one is open positions. Like in some years, lots of personal website, you will see some open positions. You have to read that page very specific. Like here you can, one PhD positions is available at Grant. Grant is just his lab name. And then with the starting date of fall 2021 semester, required skills, yeah, they have mentioned the required skills. He has mentioned required skills and background. Master's degree, you cannot apply to PhD here with like direct PhD program. It requires master's degree, so you don't need to ask anything about from anyone about that. Like direct PhD students can apply to this professor or not. They have written already. And meeting LSU grade score requirements like TOEFL and GPA and GRE score. Yeah, proficiency with at least one of simulation software widely used in power engineering, such as MATLAB and Simulink. So we all have this experience, you know that. Familiarity with microcontroller and DSP coding and programming. I will explain this one in later slides. Familiarity with microcontroller, DSP coding and programming. So if you have this is the required skills the professor wants. And if you have this one skills also, desired skills, then your chances will increase. Like hands-on experience with designing, building, and testing power circuitry, proficiency with DSP coding and programming, interested applications should contact Dr. Fraser. This one, they have also written what should you include in the email, detailed CV, list of publication, TOEFL. So you must have to follow these protocols. Okay. I know this one is research assistant opting available, so you can see they have also mentioned everything. What should be the email subject? They also mentioned that you have to follow this protocol very like in the email you just name research area position. Like when you read, you will understand that. So here like this he has also the personal website. Just go for it and explore everything what he has, and then try to approach through that way in the email. Then this one is Jumbo Zhao, this from Mississippi State University. He has also personal website. You can go. And some universities, like some professors don't have personal website, then you can read here. Then directly you can contact him. Okay. Next is boosting profile. For boosting profile, just try to secure, try to publish one journal or one or two conferences, and this is more than enough. So you don't need to worry about for lots of paper. 2 journal or few conferences or 5+ IEEE conferences are quite good for US, Canada, for PhD and for PhD. And for masters, 1 or 2 journal or 1 journal or some conferences paper, or prepare to publish paper in IEEE. Here they consider everything, like everyone publish paper in IEEE. And instead learn skills like for Australia, you need to be first author in some universities. They are like Australian PhD and MS position is quite challenging. Instead, learn skills like DSP, FPGA, microcontroller, etc. Do a small project. Implement these skills. If you learn it in bachelor for a small project, no publication, only learning. You don't need to publish these things in journal because it takes lots of time. So if you have these skills, because control power electronics topology is in saturation. So now research is going on either control or either cyber security or security things. So you just learn these skills, then it will increase your chances. For bachelor, apply for direct PhD. Funding in US is a little bit tough and rare. Like they will not provide fully funded. So in some some cases. So if you can bear that amount, go for it. Otherwise, apply for direct PhD. Collaborate with computer and electronics engineering MS students and work on grid and P devices security things because it is highly trending these days and paper publication is very easy. And also like electronics people can learn this skill, PCB authentication and everything. You know that and you can do further investigation about it. Next is non-GRE required country, Australia, contact professor with research proposal, like I discussed before. Here, publication is the key factor for selection. First author is highly beneficial. European PhD position, highly competitive. Here, your MS thesis quality and few publication matters a lot. So, MS thesis plays a crucial role for European PhD position. And you know, like this, the higher stipend highest stipend during your PhD per month 3,000 or 2,500 euros. Yeah, and you can find these positions very easily in the group or in website. Japan for Japan and South Korea, just you need to contact professor and everything is same. You don't need GRE and for South Korea, TOEFL is mandatory type things, and for Japan you don't need any test. Germany, contact professor with research idea. You cannot send research email to with uh, like general email or like US or Canada email. You have to write an email with research idea for German professor. This channel is highly effective for pursuing PhD. Like you will get high chances of selection if you contact professor early and you apply for the PhD positions. Like you and your German professor, if they are ready, then you will apply. You will write a proposal, then you will apply for grant. If it is accepted, then you are in for PhD program. Italy, they publish open positions. Apply to them. It is bit easier than others. I also posted the complete list in the Facebook group. For this, like for all of these things except USA, you need master's degree to apply for PhD in these countries. Yes, this one is the second last slide. I think discouragement and never give up attitude. So rejection is part of the process. Don't be discouraged if you are getting rejected every time. Find your weak areas, work on them, and apply again. Replan and apply to other universities. Low ranking universities, according to your profile, you will get inshallah. Believe me, ranking doesn't matter at all. So lots of people we just consider I want to go top ranking. It doesn't matter so much what which we think. So it doesn't play like that. So when you will come here, you will see that like in low ranking universities get same jobs with average universities. Of course, the brand universities have their like MIT, Stanford. This is different. Otherwise, all are same. The whole application process is very lengthy and hectic, so don't give up. And be ready, like motivate your friends to apply so that you can face these hurdles together and achieve dreams together. And now we are just one message away from you. And this one is the guidance platform. If you know about it, like if you don't know about it, just join it. Be active. We publish lots of positions here, lots of tips and documents, and more than 300 students get selected all over the globe in last 3 years. And if you want to contact me, just use messenger or email. And if you want to attend webinar, then you can see the upcoming webinar in the group. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions, then go for it.
Thank you, Seem bhai. Actually, we do have a question by Yasin Muhammad in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, how important is relevant research experience for applying MS abroad, considering how our curriculum is inclined towards theory more? How can we secure the research experience and lab techniques?
For relevant research experience in bachelor degree, you have to be very active. This is the only thing that you work on the theoretical courses and you secure your GPA or everything, but try to work on, like I mentioned also, that you just work on small projects. Try to implement the skills. Like if you are from power electronic background, like me, I am from power electronics background. So then you need to first of all you need to familiar with what skills are necessary for doing these type of research, and then implement that skills in during your bachelor, like third year, second year, in a small project. No, you don't need to publish a paper for that. And if you work that way, then of course this will be the relevant research experience for you for applying MS. So I know that in our curriculum is inclined towards theoretical, but this is the way you can do. So try to learn skills by yourself. Of course, the professor, no, the Dr. Tariq sir, others, they are doing lots of research. Then work with him. If you are from another branch, then of course, then you need to contact professor. For relevant research experience, you need professor help. So just talk to them, contact them. Inshallah, they will help you.
Yeah, we have more questions. This one is by Salim Khan. How many years IELTS score can be considered after getting score?
Sarim Khan, it is very basic question. Just 2 years when you get the score. 2 years.
Yeah, one more is by Javeria. In one of the slides, it was stated that funding for MS is tough. Then do we have to wait till we are planning for PhD?
Javeria, no, you don't need to wait. You try for MS also. It is not like tough means not that you will not get it, but it like few people in like last year also, this year also, few people has got the positions. So uh, if you are like, if your profile is not good, then make it strong. And if you, in this case, I would say that you apply for MS also or direct PhD also. If you have a plan to pursue PhD, then it will be the best thing. Okay.
Yeah, another one is by Ajay Sharma. Sir, I don't have any publications, but I have participated in multiple competitions and attended many seminars. Will all these help me, and can I use all these certificates during application process?
If you don't have any publications, it's like try to secure one at least conference or journal. Like it is not a straightforward or something like mandatory thing that you must. They never say that your publication is a mandatory thing. It is not like that. You have to they would say that one publication is mandatory. It is not like that. So what you have to do, if you have participated in multiple competitions and attended many seminars, yeah, of course they are going to help you. It will boost your CV also. Include it without any hesitation. Apart from that, boost your CV more. Like at least try to publish a conference paper, one conference in IEEE or okay. Other if like if you are in third year or you don't have time to publish paper, then go for then of course you need to apply anyway, because if you don't have publication, then RA position is little bit tough, but getting TA position is then is the other option if you have good score.
Then another one by Javeria. Thank you for for the session. It was really informative. And one last question: how do we get professors of our research arena? Since it's a vast field, so how do we define our research interest?
If you are from bachelor, then this like if you are from like you are from electrical or some other, okay, general. If you are from different any field, okay.
Yeah, she's from chemistry.
Okay. Okay, whatever with the field, it doesn't matter. Just for that, like what will be your research and or what will be the research direction, you have to contact with professor. You have to make a friendship with professor. Then they will tell you these research are going on, these research are not going on, and this is trending research areas are this one, and also you Google yourself, read current papers, just papers like for bachelor, reading paper is not good things actually. So you can Google it and just read the abstract and try to understand what the area is going on. So for research area, specific research area, you have to be you have to talk with professor. You have to make friendship with professor. They will help you. Otherwise, any seniors from your department, if you can find, they will tell you what is the research area, what is the different research area, and after that you can choose any research area. Like if like every branch or every like if I talk about electrical, then we have power electronics, power systems, and high voltage and control system, lots of it. Then you can select any one research area and then go ahead and make your profile according to your research area. But for bachelor, you don't focus on research area, focus on profile and some relevant experience. If you can apply, if you are like if you find some master's positions or in different research area than bachelor, then go for it, because don't limit your research area in bachelor.
Okay, another one is by Muhammad Sen. What is the most appropriate time to email professors if I am aiming for the fall intake?
For fall intake, for if you are planning for United States, Canada, then they start to close their application in November, December, January, February, like university. So you need to contact professor just 1 month before. Like deadline is, if application deadline is November 15, then start emailing professor from October and mention clearly that you want to apply for fall uh, that session, fall 2020.
Okay, Muhammad Ubaid. If I'm applying 1 or 2 years after my BTech and I have worked in an area in a company which is not so much relevant to my MS application area, will this affect my chances to get an admit?
Actually, it should not. If you mention these things, why you move the company that is irrelevant to your research area in an SOP, if you find genuine reason, and here SOP is a very crucial factor for the US admissions. And if you mention everything uh, about this scenario, about company and irrelevant experience in SOP in a nice way, it is not going to affect anything. So you can get everything. No problem. But you have to very clearly answer that things in SOP. Why you move to irrelevant company? Why you are moving from irrelevant company to that research area again? Like all these steps. If you find some genuine answer, you just put that one in SOP and it is good.
Okay, so we the one from Abid. Does location matter? Suppose if anyone get in North Carolina State University and San Diego University, as we all know, California has a lot of big tech firm. Which university he should choose?
Uh, in United States, location doesn't matter at all, but you need to see everything. Like look, sometimes if you live in California, then of course your expenses and other things will be very high. So if you can bear that, then of course California will be good. Otherwise, if both universities are same level, then you need to find about the lab or professor, research equipment and paper, how where they are publishing their papers, journal quality and everything. If it is Like whoever is top in it, good in it, just secure that one and leave the another. Don't go for location. Even you, even sorry, even you, if you are living in California, you just you can explore other things also. So no problem. Don't go for location. It is not a good thing.
Yeah, we have one question from Salim. I have two I have two published papers and I am in bachelor's second year. Then what I have to do more to get admitted to MS? As you said that funding is tough in MS then.
Okay. Salim, if you have two published papers, then it is good, of course. But you also publish some conference paper, and that's I'm trying to learn the skills. Publishing paper, like professor knows how someone can publish paper in during bachelor. So try to learn the skills, like I have said, for power electronics guys. If you are from another background, then try to learn the specific skills. And apart from that, you need to score very well in tests like TOEFL test and GRE test. And in this case, you can do what, like, just improve your profile by these things. These are the only things which I discussed, and to make it more and more and make dua. That's all. You can't like. One thing you can do is like I didn't mention about do international internship in second year. Like you said you are in bachelor second year, so do international internship. Like I have posted lots of long list of internship in the Facebook group. So you can find them if you secure the internship in international universities or companies. Then your chances will increase drastically. So try to secure them. It is not so easy, but you can try. And if you didn't get that, like you can target for internship in there also. Uh, uh, Japan and South Korea, they provide lots of internship, so you can secure them also. This one will be the good factor for improving CV and applying for increasing your chances of selection.
Okay, we have a next question. Can the major be changed in masters? Like, for example, you have done bachelor's in chemistry. Can you shift into another allied field in master's program?
Yes, you can. It is lots of people do, but here you're like you will not get the RA funding very easily because you don't have relevant experience. Though no professor is going to be reply. And the next one is if you want to change your major, you have to mention the strong reason for that in your SOP or like a statement of purpose why you are changing. And if your score is good, like TOEFL score or GRE score, then of course you will have a possibility of getting TA fellowship, like teaching assistantship. So this one you can do it, no problem, but you have to find a strong reason to do that.
Okay, we have a question from what's a good GPA score for MS?
Uh, Good GPA means what's your GPA score? I like good GPA is like 8.5 plus. You can I can't like no one can say this answer. Like they will evaluate your overall profile. If you want to know, then I can say 8.5 is good. With all other things balanced like the TOEFL score, GI score, and publications or strong CV, then it is good. If you are weak in some other areas, then you score 9 plus, score 9.5 plus. So all these depend on your overall profile.
Okay, I think that's all. And if you still have some questions and queries, you can email Sireen Bhai as he has already shared his email. and the
Yes,
Facebook
I
group
have a
link.
question.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, Sirin bhai.
Walaikum salam.
Regarding contacting the professors, let's say one professor have accepted me for MS student as he's a MS student. So how can I know for sure if he would fund me or not, or offer me any position or not?
Now, in the like, when you will email them, email him or her,
Yes.
so then he will reply something. Okay, then he will take your interview. After that interview, during that interview, he will mention everything. What he is going to like, what fellowship, what benefits you will get it, like fellowship, health insurance, how much is stipend. They will clearly mention everything, and then you will know that if
Okay.
he
All
is, if he agreed to supervise you and fund you, then it's done. That he's ready to take you.
okay. All right. Means if he is ready to supervise, then most probably he will fund me, right?
Yeah, like in interview duration, he will mention everything. And if he
Okay.
didn't mention, then you can ask. You should ask, actually.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much, Sireen Bhai, for taking out your precious time. We are really enlightened with your presence and the information you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and attending this session. And all of you guys, I am not much so senior, so you can contact without any hesitation and just feel free to share anything. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Walaikum Assalam.